Hey everybody, how y'all doing? Hope you're doing well. I thought I'd pop up here a minute and try and do a quick video. You know me and my so-called quick videos. I don't know what that is. I don't really want to spend a whole lot of time doing this because I have an appointment with the primary physician today. It's a video call, so I don't have to do that drive going down there and coming back. Had to yesterday because of the testing that we were doing. I was basically being tested for asthma yesterday, doing an asthma test. It's basically breathing test only with what was it called, metachlorine or something like that. Anyway, some sort of drug that you inhale. It's done in 5 different doses, 5 different levels of intensity, basically. Did well with it up until with the first 4. The 5th one was a bit intense. Closed up my throat real bad right here. I mean, I was like this, breathing through a very tiny hole that was still open, and I mean, I absolutely could not breathe, and I still had to do the test. But we had discussed everything ahead of time, including the inhaler I was going to have to use. I told at first it was albuterol, and I was just like, no, I'm not doing it. And I'm like, just have some oxygen on hand. That's all I need. And unfortunately, that's a prescription thing or whatever, and she kept having to go back and talk to the doctor about some things that I would be bringing up. And ultimately, we went with an inhaler I hadn't tried before. And, in the end. And really, to tell you the truth, in the end, they administered it, but I really didn't need it, to be perfectly honest, as I was clearing up on my own. But they insisted, and before they could even let me go or whatever, but I really didn't need it. It just cleared up on its own, or was clearing up on its own. But anyway, got those test results back while I was on the road, but I really couldn't look at anything very, very well anyway, with being on the road until after I got home, and I just wanted to get home so I could eat and possibly go out to work for a little bit, because I still have to finish getting basically 2 weeks worth of car payment together, seeing how they screwed up last week. Yeah, so I get to go in tomorrow and get all that straightened around. I know, it's ridiculous. But at least I'm back on track as far as everything is concerned with Mayo. The other test that I had done was basically being tested for the COVID antibody. Came back negative. Which means I have never had COVID. Interesting, I know. So that means, on the one hand, that means I'm doing something right with never having COVID. I'm one of the few out there, I think. But that was interesting, because I'm telling you, I swear to you, that 3 years ago, if I would have taken an educated guess, I would have said it was that Omicron variant, but obviously it wasn't. But at that time, we also had RSV going around. So I have a few things to talk about with the primary doctor this afternoon when I have that video call with him. I'm going to talk to him about that, about having RSV antibody test done of some sort. I have no idea if there even is one. I'm going to just make an assumption here. I haven't looked it up, but I'm going to say that there probably is. So I'd like to get tested for that. Also see if there's any other antibody tests that we could run with that, of any sort of little nasties that were floating around out there, at that time that maybe I don't know about. I know that there's, of course, the common cold, the common flu, those things. But, right, good luck. But I think the other one that would be a good idea to get tested for is RSV. Also, I'm going to discuss with him about the stiff person syndrome, since how we've ruled out long COVID. Talk to him about stiff person syndrome or anything else that maybe I may have missed. I mean, we could discuss fibromyalgia. But yeah, I think it would be a good idea to start discussing all those other options and so forth. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at right now. Did go out to work last night. I wasn't expecting to work for very long. I at least wanted to make, a certain very small dollar amount in comparison to what I'm used to making anyway. I know my hand's a little shaky. I was okay at first. It was a bit challenging. A little bit later, exhaustion really started kicking in, because that is an exhausting test. That breathing test is pretty exhausting. But one good thing that did come out of that test too is, aside from the fact that I'm negative for asthma, of course, I already know because of there's one number that they're probably going to try and use against me, but with research that I have done, no. It's basically a number that they really can't use to make a determination if you have asthma or not. And it's this one category, basically, that they have to go off of to make a determination if you have asthma or not. And with that one, with your percentile, it has to be great. It has to be at equal or greater. Is it equal to? Also, I don't remember, but definitely greater than 20%. And with that category, I came in at 10%. So they might try and still use that, against me also, aside from that other category I mentioned. Or try and, use both at the same time or what have you. And I'm going to be like, no, I'm sorry, I do not have asthma. So anyway, but one good thing that came out of it is the arnica tea that I've been drinking is definitely helping. And getting some rest, not overexerting myself, all that sort of stuff, allowing my body some time to heal, especially after everything from this past summer, on top of everything that I've been through over the last 3 years. And so yeah, that's I noticed a huge improvement with doing that test this time versus the last time. That's what I'm trying to say here. So, but yeah, anyway, when I went out to work, yeah, the exhaustion, the fatigue was really setting in. Aside from that, because, my throat got tightened up again, it was really bothering me last night. It was really getting horribly hoarse, and then I kept breathing out. One of the reasons why I wanted to go out too last night was get some movement in and some exercise, help get all of that gas that I had to breathe in, between the methacholine and the inhaler afterwards. I wanted to get all that out of my system as much as possible. So, but yeah, this right here was really bothering me, really, really bad. And I'm just like, between the two combined, especially the fatigue, I mean, I was literally falling asleep at traffic lights. Not a good situation. So I'm like, yeah, let's get going home, So I went offline But I stopped off at a gas station that's just right up the road here. I'm like, some ice cream sounds really good. I did not want to be eating regular food. My throat was that hoarse, you know. I really did not want to be eating any sort of regular food. I just wanted some ice cream, basically. So, I mean, I have a little bit at home, but it's a little old. By rights, I should probably just throw it out. I'm sure it's frostbite. But I just wanted, a little something. And then I seen this one. I wound up getting some chocolate chip cookie dough. I'm like, that sounds really good. And oh, did that feel good. I had some of that, and along with some soda. And of course, I took my nighttime insulin, and I crashed. Literally just crashed. So, but yeah, and then I was waking up this morning, and sure enough, Charlie horse, not in a usual spot either. It was in my leg. It's not where I usually get them, so that tells me it's all those gases that I had to breathe in is, yeah, I know that. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Just going to be waiting around for the doctor's call this afternoon and go back out to work and then discuss those options for right now. So, yeah, it's kind of where we're at right now. So, anyway, my little baby over there, for those of you who don't know, I have a cat. She's doing really, really well. But the only other thing I have to talk about is, okay, I still want to get some arnica gel also, basically attack everything in my chest 2 different directions. And, with the cramping that keeps happening in there, attack it both different ways. And I tried stopping off at the one Walmart that I thought I was at before, kind of find out it wasn't the same one, and they don't have a homeopathic section. So I went up on the app to see if they had it in stock, that arnica tea, and they were out of stock. So it'd probably be best if I just start ordering it. That, and then, like I said, the arnica gel. And I haven't called in as far as the physical therapy is concerned, start calling around for that. I'm going to hold off on that for right now until I discuss things, with the doctor, and if he agrees to do the stiff person syndrome testing, then I'll hold off even longer for that and go from there. So I did do a little bit of research as far as RSV. I guess you could call it long RSV. I have no idea what it was. I didn't really see anything with the quick research, the quick search that I did. I didn't really see any sort of term that they're using for long-term symptoms after you possibly have had RSV. But it was interesting. There was one symptom that really stuck out at me. Is bronchial some or another. Basically, congestion in your bronchioles. It can possibly lead to pneumonia, blah, blah, blah. That kind of hit me a little bit, because what have I been fighting for the last 3 years? And even my primary physician that I had out in Vegas kept diagnosing me with that. Basically chronic bronchitis. So, and I think that he even may have used that term in his notes. Whatever that term was, just do a quick Google search for, RSV, long-term symptoms or something like that, or after effects. That's basically what I had used. And it was just like, okay. So that was very, very telling. I'm like, might be onto something with that. So we'll see how it all goes and plays out and everything. Then again, after everything is said and done, I might end up testing negative for everything. And in the end, it could just be a situation where I got something really nasty, who knows what it was, and I was becoming a type 1 diabetic at the same time. And unfortunately, especially with the diabetes, and then of course having the diabetes will affect things as far as allergies are concerned, because you're autoimmune deficient. Your body is basically fighting itself on a constant basis, so it makes it more difficult for your body to be able to fight off histamines even. And could just be that situation. Let's face it, I tested positive for a lot of environmental histamines. So, I'm still going to see about the allergy shots. I've made that decision. I'm going to go ahead and do the allergy shots. I know my other hand, it just doesn't want to stay stable. And the main reason, even though the man-made stuff is more damaging, I guess you could say, harsher on my system than the environmental, I'm in hopes that maybe if we get the environmental under control, that it will lessen the impact the man-mades have on my system. So it'll be maybe hopefully a little bit easier for my body to be able to fight those off. So we'll see. Either way, I'm not doing those inhalers, even if they try and push them, even if they try and diagnose me with asthma or whatever. I'm going to be like, no. And sorry, I do not have asthma, and I know that. And as far as I'm concerned, the tests prove that. So they might try and say, like I said, they might try and say with the two numbers combined, basically pre-asthma or something, some sort of bullshit like that. And I'm going to be like, no, sorry, too bad. So, yeah, this is kind of where we're at right now. And go from there. That's all we can do. So, anywho, I'm going to get myself ready, get going. So there's a little bit of running I need to do and eat, all that sort of good stuff, and then go from there. All right. Love you guys. Talk to y'all soon.